Guy, sorry, did we wake you? I mean, what's going
I
on?
got a good thing going. I got the hair going. This
Dude,
is like this is like Friday morning rig, man. This is like
well,
it's
first of
all
all,
good.
congrats, because everybody should be that relaxed. You obviously are. You're reminding me a little bit of that picture of El Chapo when they pulled him out of the hole. I mean, like they.
Was that El Chapo or was it the one of the? I don't know, but I know what you're saying. Yeah,
It's actually you're kind of like a combo of Saddam Hussein and El Chapo.
Right.
Weren't they both pulled out of like tunnels? You know. So, I mean, with all due respect, I mean, by the way, speaking of tunnels, coming out of the tunnel, you got a game 7 tonight. And these guys are coming out of the tunnel what do we think about the Islanders here? I mean, you're a Ranger fan. I'm a Ranger fan. What do you know?
I got to tell you, they're down 2-0. They come back, they win that game in overtime. I mean, it's a gritty performance. I mean, I think as Ranger fans, there's no way we can root for the Islanders, but there's something about them. I don't know. And I know you probably agree with this. As much as I loathe the franchise, I respect the way they play. I mean, that's a fun team to watch. They don't.
I got to tell you, their barn has been an impressive place to kind of observe the fan bedlam. By the way, you also look like you could be in training. You look like Rocky Balboa. You look like you could be in training for your boy Stu, who I knew took you on the other day on the Fan. So
that was great. It's funny. Like I sort of half knew he was probably going to call in because I was definitely looking to stir the shit up. And sure enough, he called in and he just was apoplectic. For those that don't know, I mean, he's like Two for the Money or whatever with Matthew McConaughey and Al Pacino.
Yeah.
The movie was sort of fashioned after Stu.
This guy.
And he's like a legendary figure in sports betting, but he's out of his effing mind.
Well,
he's great.
But you kind of have to be, and to have the passion and look, but again, he wants a piece of you. He's looking to drop the gloves, man. He's not even waiting for the puck to drop. I mean, he called you out. I mean, what's going on with this? Are you guys?
It's funny. He texted me offline and he said, "I have mad respect and thanks for being such a good sport and let's do dinner." And so, I mean, a lot of it is, theatrics for sure.
Yes.
But I was upset because he comes on the Fan and he starts guaranteeing. You don't guarantee, especially, I would never come on and guarantee unless I'm playing in the game, which is like a Messier thing. But as a fan, you don't do that. You don't touch the money. Yeah, so don't do it. Don't put the horns on your team, man. I don't want that kind of bad feng shui, as they say.
Although, look, what fan doesn't believe that they can't influence the outcome of the game? For me, it's often just as simple as turning it on or off, right? In a key moment, you're in a position to influence the outcome. Stu's, and by the way, I'm not saying that there's any shenanigans going on here, but let's just say that, in the past or even in the future, money can dictate the outcome of a game. I'm not saying nothing, Stu. And again, I don't want to get involved in this one, but anyway, all right. So by the way, did you see those new All-Star jerseys? Speaking of games, I mean,
Tom just sent. So Tom's our crack producer. He just sent us a picture of them, and for Major League Baseball. So we're products of the '70s to a large extent, and nothing for me was better than seeing those team pictures of All-Star with their with their jerseys on, and
seeing you get like Reggie in the green and yellow lined up against a Brooks Robinson in those orange and black. I mean, it was amazing, dude. Right. So
and you get to figure out, right, who's the guy from the Orioles and who's representing the Rangers, and now it's all just everything's homogenous. I mean, it's bullshit if you ask me. Nike, listen, we love the stock. I know you've loved it for a while, and they reported earnings last night, which were
nice
ridiculous.
Segue, by the way. I thought you were going to ask me who made those jerseys. Was it Nike? Was it Nike? Reebok?
But I was going to say, like, they've impaled themselves with that. I mean, just it's awful. It's awful.
All right. So maybe they're too focused on their North American business, which they reported numbers this morning. First of all, stocks at an all-time high. I mean, the question that your dad always asked you, and my dad asked me, is how much are you going to pay for a pair of sneakers? When you walked into that store at remember the Athlete's Foot?
Sure.
in the Galleria Mall. Was that, was that a
We
place for
we
you?
we had to go. It was hard for us to
I know
get
it's
there.
difficult. In fact, I'm not even sure you
So-
wore sneakers. Were you barefoot?
So
What
there was a
going on?
place in Ossining that we went to. So we had to sort of,
Near the prison.
it was sort of, I was gonna say it was in the shadow of Sing Sing, and that's where we have to go to get our sneakers.
Well, all right. So I mean, I remember the deal I had with my dad on sneakers, and I'm one of five, right? So and when you're ages 7 through 14, which was kind of the spread in my house, that's a lot of sneakers, and those are a lot of feet that are growing quickly. So Dad benchmarked sneaker purchases off of I believe it's like a Jack Purcell's was a canvas tennis sneaker that he thought we should all be wearing. So anything spread over the Jack Purcell was coming out of your paper route money. And honestly, it was a pretty fair deal. I mean, the Jack Purcell was kind of like a $14.99, $16.99 shoe. And I remember my first pair of Nikes, they were also a canvas, something. I wasn't able to, even in Scarsdale, man, I wasn't trading up to the leathers, but it was the one with a light blue swish. And they were $21.99. And so I made my first sneaker purchase net $7 over the Jack Purcell, and I loved them, man. I got to tell you. So there's my
for CYO it was obviously the Chuck Taylors, the canvas Chucky T's, the white Converse, which then fell off the face of the earth, and then made some resurgence.
Then you see your daughter wearing them, like the coolest thing going on, and so what do you pay for a sneaker company? I mean, look, Nike this morning up 14%. All-time highs 153, 154, somewhere in, I don't know, but trading, even with upgraded EPS forecast, because they earned 90 cents, 89 cents, Street was at 50, is something. For all I know, this is Michael Jordan right now, and we're putting more money in his pocket. By the way, what a great trade that was for him. Nike trading 40 times. What do you do with it?
It's expensive, but it's been expensive. I actually said on the show last night, there's a chance that Nike's actually cheaper with the move in the aftermarket than it was, half hour prior.
I think it is.
Look, I think you do stay with it, although you can't blame anyone if they were to take some money off the table, given the fact that the stock's up 12% or whatever it is on a monster number. I mean, you got to believe at some point it does it back and fill into the 130s. But if you're in this for the next 10 years, there's no reason to cut bait here, in my opinion.
No, I'm with you. Again, North America comps up 32% year over year, and this may also be here's for the bears out there. What happens when someone hands you $1,000 in a check in the mail and the government just says, "Here you go"? You probably go out and buy a new phone. You buy some sneakers. In your case, I would buy a new jersey. I would buy a T-shirt. Speaking of backing and filling, stay out of that hole, my man, and stay away from Stu, because I think he means business, and I'm worried about you, pal. So
if Stu wants some of this shit, he can bring anytime he wants, man. I'm just saying.
On, dude. All right, and as a Ranger fan, I'm not necessarily pulling for the Islanders, although I like what they did in their barn. Have a great weekend, dude.
See you later.